one point, there were 3 separate bands calling themselves Slayer. In the 80s, the name Slayer must have been considered a pretty great band name. In fact, at least 3 different bands were calling themselves Slayer at the time, and in 1983, all 3 released albums under the name of Slayer. 2 LP were released and 1 EP. One of the metal bands was from the UK and initially started out using the name Heavy Thunder. By 1980, the group had begun calling themselves Slayer. 3 years later, they changed their name to Dragon Slayer. Another band, which formed in 1982 from San Antonio, TX, also called themselves Slayer. The San Antonio Slayer actually made their record before the now famous Slayer band, but it didn't immediately get released. 6 months later, Slayer from California put out their album, beating the San Antonio band out. The band from Los Angeles sent the San Antonio group a cease and desist with threats of suing the band over the name change. The San Antonio band changed their name to Slayer. Oddly enough, the 2 bands went on to play together that same year, which was later referred to as the infamous Slayer vs. Slayer gig. Kerry Kingand worked with the Beastie Boys, but they don't necessarily like one another. In 1986, the Beastie Boys released the album Licensed to Ill, which included the track No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Kerry Kingand, the rhythm guitarist for Slayer, played guitar riffs and solo for the song. Additionally, King appears in the music video for No Sleep Till Brooklyn, both as himself and in a gorilla suit. In a 2016 interview with Rolling Stone magazine, Def Jam co-founder and Slayer producer Rick Rubin commented on King's participation on the song. Kerry Kingand from Slayer did the guitar solo. I don't think he liked the song. I think he just thought it was bizarre. He's a real, serious metalhead. He really loves metal, and I don't think he listens to much music outside of metal. At least, then he didn't. I don't think it spoke to his aesthetic. And honestly, in retrospect, I don't think he really spoke to the Beasties' aesthetic. They didn't really like him either. Laughs. It was kind of mutual. Tom Araya has a career in respiratory therapy on which to fall back. It's hard to imagine famous musicians having normal careers, but many started out doing other jobs before joining bands. Gene Simmons, the vocalist for Kiss, went to college and got a degree in education. He later became an elementary school teacher. Before Johnny Cash became a musician, he was responsible for intercepting Soviet Morse code for the military. In the case of vocalist and bassist for Slayer, Tom Araya worked as a respiratory therapist. What's more, he had a habit of not billing hospital patients who may have required more care than he was able to provide. Araya eventually left his career in respiratory therapy when Slayer started getting recognition. Slayer's first tour had humble beginnings. For the 1983 album Show No Mercy, Slayer went on their first tour. The band didn't have a plane or even a tour bus. They rented a U-Haul trailer which they were able to fit their equipment in and a few band members, and the rest of the band rode along in Araya's Camaro. Slayer didn't have what you'd call professional staff working for them either. They didn't have a manager at the time, and their only employees were a guy who sold t-shirts for the band and family members. In fact, Araya's 13-year-old brother John was one of their roadies as well as their sound man. The group was entirely new to touring and were only making enough money to travel to the next city to do a show. June 6 is known as Slayer Day. June 6, 2006 was the first widely recognized Slayer Day, appropriately positioned on the Satanic numbers 666. Since then, metalheads have taken the opportunity to recognize the giants of the genre, and the Slayer celebration continues annually. The cultural movement is officially recognized as the International Day of Slayer. In 2015, Slayer released the album Repentless and had no idea they made up the word. In 2015, Slayer came out with the new album Repentless. If you're unfamiliar with the word Repentless, have no fear, as it isn't actually a word. Right before the album's release, Kerry Kingand was interviewed and asked what exactly that word means to the band. King responded, "The funny thing is I didn't know it wasn't a word when I made it up. People do make up words, and when people make up words, you usually got to say, hey, what does that mean? When you hear Repentless, you know exactly what it means. It means I have no regrets. I don't look back at anything and have regrets. It's just a way of living life. I first started making it up about Slayer, but I made the chorus first, and I didn't make this song up to be the title track. Unrepentant is probably the word King was seeking, but Repentless sounds cool enough for fans as is." The band showed their softer side when they rescued a kitten. In 2014, Slayer was on tour and staying in Indianapolis, Indiana. The band members went out to dinner at St. Elmo's Steakhouse. After the meal, the group was approached by a homeless man who was offering a kitten for. The freezing kitty was taken in by the band, and the assistant tour manager took care of the cat that night. The next night, a Facebook post made by the Old National Center, an Indianapolis music venue, posted a photograph of the kitten explaining how Slayer had rescued it. The kitten was rehomed, and the new owner commented on the Facebook post thanking Slayer, explaining the kitten was doing well and that it had been named Gypsy. Gary Holt responded to Kendall Jenner's Slayer t-shirt with a retaliatory fashion statement. Like many celebs, Kendall Jenner has jumped on the bandwagon of wearing vintage band t-shirts featuring bands with which she is likely unfamiliar, but hey, it looks cool, right? In 2014, Kim Kardashian's half-sister hosted Canada's Much Music Video Awards sporting a Slayer t-shirt. Slayer guitarist Gary Holt was later seen wearing a t-shirt seemingly as a response to Jenner, which simply read, "Kill the Kardashians." In July 2017, Holt was interviewed by Respiratory and asked about his famous Kardashian t-shirt. Holt explained the shirt was made for him by a friend who knows his deep, bitter, black hatred of them, the Kardashians. He went on to add, "It's like Kim Kardashian was a closet organizer, and then she did a sex tape and became famous for it, and now they stick their name on products, and I hate their guts. So my friend Jack actually made the shirt for me first, and then we decided to start our own little merch company, No Love Apparel, and sold them, and it became like a huge viral thing." There's a hidden message in the song Hell Awaits. Ever since the invention of rock and roll, there have been many who shunned the genre, thinking of it as the devil's music. Unsurprisingly, rumors began about certain bands backmasking songs, that is, having a hidden message when the song is played backward, usually considered the work of Satanists to get young and impressionable teens to join the dark side. On Slayer's 1985 album Hell Awaits, The title track includes a backward message. Voices repeated the phrase "Join us" 45 times before saying "Welcome back." However, Tom Araya has stated that the imagery on the album art was solely for effect and not for satanic rituals. Band Brawls sometimes included dissemination of bodily fluids. Band Brawls sometimes included dissemination of bodily fluids. Slayer's song Jihad told a terrorist's point of view and caused post-9/11 controversy. The band was sued after a teen girl was killed by friends in what was referred to as a satanic sacrifice. The band was sued after a teen girl was killed by friends in what was referred to as a satanic sacrifice.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.